Hey, good morning, everybody. Apologize for the tardiness. Unfortunately, I thought Leonard was going to sign us on, and then he sent me a text saying that asked me if I had signed on, so I had to sign on in the last minute. Um, and I also had some problems with, well, not a problem. He has to reconnect with his Facebook account. So once he does that, if it's not up on his, I don't think it's up on his yet. Um, One, he's coming in. I assume he's coming in, and two, he's once he connects with his Facebook, reconnect with Facebook account, it'll come up on his Facebook page as well. So just wanted to, and I'm trying to pull up my page now to make sure it's on. Everything is good. Uh yeah, we're good. Okay. One of the things that well, happy day after Juneteenth. Let's start with that. And the reason why I brought up that is I was listening to Loree Daniel Favor's show on Sirius XM this morning, and it was a replay of her show from yesterday. And two things that caught my attention uh, on there. Something that somebody said that I think is very important to us uh, um, as African Americans. Um, One guy said when he was growing up, he grew up in East Texas. I think he said Nacogdoches, Texas. Uh, um, he said that when he was growing up, it's they would celebrate Juneteenth every year growing up as a kid. Uh, and he said that one of the things that his family would do, his mother would make sure, because his mother was, I forgot where he said his mother was from. He said, but his mother would make sure that she set everybody down and she would show them photos of the family, talk about the family history, talk about the family, tell the stories of the family, and point out, okay, this is your uncle so and so, that's your aunt so and so, that's your grandmother, that's this, that's cousin so and so, and just talk about those people as a whole. Their contributions not only to family but society, so on and so forth. And I thought that was quite interesting because, and one of the things that the Reed Daniel Favor said in response to that, she said that she has like 78,000 photos on her phone, and she was saying, back in the day, when we had cameras, it was commitment. You had a camera, you had to put the film in, you take a picture. Once you take the picture and the roll is done, you take it to a photo lab, a Kodak photo lab, a Kmart, or some store like that, and you get it processed. And in about 10 days or so, you get the pictures. Somebody will process the picture for you, and you get the actual picture. And then people the ones that you like, you will put them in a photo album. The other ones you just leave in the packet that you got it from the store from the place from. And I always thought that was, when she said that, I said, that's crazy. She said, we don't take pictures and put them in photo albums anymore. We keep them on our phone. We post them on social media, but we don't keep the actual pictures. And the concept, this man said that when he grew up, that they would uh, um, sit down and talk about the family, talk about the history, talk about, aunt so and so, uncle so and so, grandma, grandpa, cousins, all this stuff, and the things that they did, big and minor, and just sit back and laugh and enjoy family. And she said, we don't do too much of that anymore. And I thought about that in reference to my own family. Excuse me, in reference to my own family. Since my mother passed, I've gotten closer to my two aunts that live here, my Mamie and my aunt Jean. And they, through the grieving process of when I was going through after my mother died, they were there for me. They stepped up and embraced me. And that's also one of the reasons why I decided to move back to Augusta, because I missed that that type of uh, um, love. My family. Anybody who knows me, I love my family. I talk about my family all the time. Talk about how crazy they are, how much fun it is to be around them. I miss that type of environment because I grew up like that. My first cousins were like my brothers and sisters. That was my growing up, my support. I looked to them for advice. I looked to them for you know, just to have my back in life. So when she said that, started thinking like, man, we missed that. Now I will say this: my family, when we get together, like we're getting together today, and my brothers for a Juneteenth celebration, we do sit around and talk, and we talk about, just tell stories about things that happened to us or things that we witnessed personally. And sometimes we recount the same stories over and over again, but they never get old. It's like the first time hearing it. You're laughing just as hard now as you did the first time you heard it, or when you were there, you witnessed it itself. Uh, um, and it's kind of crazy because that type of environment, like I said, I grew up like that, and I love that. And when she mentioned that, I didn't think about it. I thought about it. I was like, you're right. I don't have pictures up. I don't have a photo album. I don't have something, and I didn't when I was growing up. Oh, when my kids were growing up, I should say, my adults now. I call them my adults. My adults were growing up. I did not sit down and talk to them show them pictures of family members. And this is so and so, and that is so and so, and this person here and that person there. I didn't do that. I did to a certain extent, but not as much as I should have. And I hate that I didn't do it. And I think my kids, my adults, missed out on um, a key part of who we are as a family. Like my family shaped who I am. My interactions with my family shaped who I am. You know that nature versus nurture. Well, that nurturing part came from my family, and they shaped a lot of my personality just being around them. Now, I will say this: my adults, they uh, um, they did pick up on some of that stuff, and I did tell them stories about some of the stories about when I was growing up, and most of the stories were things involving me. But it wasn't anything. I didn't tell too many stories of family members that in reference to them telling family history. I didn't do too much of that. We do have a family reunion every year. I have a family reunion, ironically, on both sides of my mother's family. Matter of fact, in a few weeks, my family is going to be the Striggles family. We're going to be meeting in Houston for a family reunion, and we've been having that side of my family has been having a reunion since 1980. Every 2 years except for 2020, we've had reunions. So we're coming up on 46 years. Yeah, 40 no, yeah, 46 years of family getting together. Now it hasn't been every year for 46 years, but every other year. But we've been doing this since 1980. And on the other side of my mother's family, the Livelies, we've been doing that. I can't remember when we started that because I wasn't around. I think I might have been in the military when it started. So I'm not exactly sure what year it started, but we do it the opposite year. So in the even years, I have the Striggles family. On the odd years, I have the Lively family. And every year, you know, you get this. Of course, my first cousins and all that, we get together. We go to the reunions and all. It's a big deal for us. We plan our summers around those about family reunions. Like those are key parts of our thing. And I think we need to do a better job of, well, I say this. We do in the Strickle side, they've done a masterful job of documenting our family's history, or at least documenting the reunions. Um, and we've done some research in terms of how far we go back and the family and all that. But I think for our newer generation, they need to, not just my family, but Black families, period, need to sit down and talk to our children about our history. It's a to me, it's a beautiful thing when you can recount your family's history. And Louis Daniel Favors said something. There was another lady, and I can't remember exactly what she said, but I liked her comment as well. Oh, she one of the things that she said was she was also from Texas, and yes, I do have a family tree, Mary. We do have a family tree. We can trace our ancestors. Actually, I jokingly tell people because everybody, for some reason, a lot of people over my lifetime, especially as an adult, they thought I was mixed, and I would tell them, no, I'm not. They said, what are you mixed with? Black and blacker. That was always my response. My family's black. I do have some ancestors, some white ancestors. And the ironic thing is, one of the ancestors, the Striggles family is a German. The family, the Striggles, the white part came from Germany. Let's say that one of the Striggles, he went black and never went back. He had two black wives, not one, but two. So he loved some sisters. And those are my ancestors. So we do recount all of that. We do know all of that, the family tree. Now, there's another aspect of my family that I've been told one of my ancestors may have been had been Native American or something like that. But we've never been able to determine, that was family passed down through family, history, oral history. We've never been able to determine whether or not that was true, and we've never been able to find out where she came from. But we do know that one of my ancestors was white, and he had a bunch of mixed children, and I do mean a bunch of mixed children, but you would never know it by looking at us that we have. Well, I guess you can't say that, but that's one side of my family. The other side of the family, we don't know. It's not as extensive research on that, but we do know some of it. But I'll say that to say this. The one of the ladies said that Juneteenth was her favorite holiday. She loved it more than Christmas, more than anything. And she's talking about growing up, her family celebrated Juneteenth. And what she loved about it was the family aspect of it. It wasn't just like we like to talk about, Juneteenth as being it was created because that's when the enslaved Black people in Texas first found out that they were free in Galveston. So that part right there, we talk about that, but we rarely talk about what it means to people, what it means to us, other than the freedom part. And she was talking about how she just enjoyed that day, the celebrations, what it meant to her as a child. And she said, as an adult, she's passing on that love for that day to her 7-year-old son. And I was like, oh, I like that. I think our people, we don't spend enough time collectively celebrating our history. We don't do that. We don't do it enough. And I think, and not just the bad things. We like to talk about, our people being enslaved, and then we like to talk about the big things, who invented this and all those things. we don't spend enough time talking about the little things. Um, and I think we need to do that. Spend more time talking about our individual family history, our individual um, the accomplishments, the highs and the lows that our families have experienced, the contributions we made to the community, small things, running having the first daycare or having whatever, just doing something to show this is where you come from, this is who I am, this is who you are, and this is our legacy. And read down your favorites, and I'm listening to this because I was listening to this morning. That's why it's so fresh in my mind. She was saying that the oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got to send Linda the invitation to this thing again. She was saying studies have shown that why does this thing keep doing with the eye? She keeps saying that, well, she said that studies have shown that Black children whose family, well, who know their history and are taught about Black excellence and things of that nature, that they do better in school. They are more adjusted. They are better able to deal with racism. They're better students. They are, what else did she say? They're better students, and that they're more adjusted to life than students who don't know their history. And I found that to me, that was quite interesting because I tried to instill that in my children when they were young because I'm a history person, and my major in grad school was Africana Studies with a concentration in African American history. I know, I'm not gonna say I know a lot because I'm never gonna lie and say I know a lot, but I know some stuff, and I passed that on to my children. I made them proud to be African American, to be children of the African diaspora. I made them proud to be that way, and I instilled in them the importance of it. Just like also I instilled in the importance of voting. My son, the remix, is actually doing an internship in Huntsville, Alabama, and I was telling him that I had gone to vote or something like that. We were talking about voting. He was like, "Oh shoot, Dad!" He said, "I forgot all about that." My son was going to drive from Huntsville back to Atlanta, a 3-hour drive, so a total of 6 hours, just so he could vote. Just so he could vote. He was going to drive 3 hours, or 6 hours, 6 hours worth of driving, just so he could vote in the runoff. That's the crazy thing. It's not the general election. It wasn't in the primary. It was the runoff that he wanted to get into, that he wanted to vote on. So that sense of pride, that sense of duty to not only you, but your community as a whole, that's something I instilled in my children when they were young. And they still hold on to that. Maybe about 10 years ago or something like that. Maybe about 10 years ago or so. I told I came on Facebook first, and then I went ahead and did it. Or maybe I went on Facebook, whatever, I did it and went on Facebook. Either way, I started this thing of I want to get dressed up when I go vote. That's what I want to do. Because I remember and have memories of my grandmother and the women in the neighborhood that I grew up in when I was in Augusta on Mercer Street. They would get dressed up to go vote because it was important to them. Now, the crazy thing is, I'm like, well, maybe I made up this memory. So I mentioned it to my mother when I started doing it. She was like, yeah, they used to do that. I was like, okay, all right, cool. I didn't make this up. But I started doing that. And then when my daughter started voting, when Shantae started voting, we went and voted as a family, and we were all dressed up. Because I said, you got to get dressed up. I had on a suit. She had on she was dressed up, and she had just turned 18, if I'm not mistaken. So it was her first time voting. When my son, same thing, Kenny, when he was getting ready to go vote, his first time voting, we all went together, dressed up. And we took pictures of us dressed up with our little Georgia gives stickers that say I voted or something like that. We all took pictures like that. That type of stuff is important. And that's a part of our story. And that's what we need to pass on to future generations. Our story can't be just on social media. We need to start documenting this and telling these stories. The good and the bad and the ugly. Tell those humorous stories. My cousin, my brother told a story a couple of weeks ago, and I had never heard this story. So my cousin Jeff was one of the funniest dudes I ever met in my life. So another one of my cousins was dealing with a health issue where she thought she had lupus. So turns out she didn't, but she was going through health and she thought she might have lupus. So she came around, and I wasn't living here when it happened. So this is the first time I heard this story. And she came around Jeff, and I guess it was a family function. Jeff was there, and we saw. He said, "What's up, Loop de Loop?" The way I cried, I was laughing so hard because that was Jeff. That was Jeff. That was Jeff. Jeff, one of my aunts, she had lost her leg in an accident, and they were at Jeff's parents' house, and my aunt was getting ready to leave, so Jeff grabbed her and put up against the wall, saying, "I think you're stealing my mother's silverware." So he searched her and all that stuff. That's my family. That's a part of our history. That's stuff that we need to talk about. And I often tell people that it's funny. I always tell people who, when I first meet them, I'm the quiet one in my family. And they can't believe it. They really can't believe it that I'm the quiet one. I'm like, yeah. And then they meet my family, like, oh, yes, you are the quiet one. And my family, no, you ain't the quiet one. Yes, I am. The rest of y'all got no sense. But that's the stories. Those are the stories that we need to tell future generations. Those things should never be lost. When mom and them, grandma and them, and everybody pass on, leave this earthly realm, those stories should not die with them. They should be retold and retold and retold and retold. Now, you do know once those stories it may start off one way, and by the next time the third generation get it, the story has been embellished or whatever, but it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference. Our children need a connection, and I'm old enough to be a grandparent now. They need a connection to their past. So you grandparents out there, I'm not a grandparent, but you grandparents, pass that information on to your grandchildren. I think that is very important to your legacy. And as I tell people all the time, legacy doesn't have to be something grand, it doesn't have to be anything big. Just passing on those family stories will add to their legacy and your legacy. And then when your children or grandchildren get grown, they pass it on to the next generation. Tell those stories, those funny stories, the things that they witnessed, the things that they heard, all of those things. those are important to our existence in this country, in this world, in this realm. They're very important. And I think we need to do more of that. We need to talk more about that. So your realm of influence, your sphere of influence, talk to them. And these pictures, these thousands of pictures we have on our phone. Now I'm thinking about that myself. Spend some time to print them out. Put them in a photo album. Because if you ever lose that phone or whatever, if there's no pictures, if or something happens to you, people can't get into your phone or whatever, those pictures are lost forever. They're lost. And if you take the time out to take a picture, that means it meant something to you. That means it's going to mean something to your family when you're gone. So take the time, print the pictures out. I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to go through my phone and select pictures. Not too many selfies, but select pictures in there that mean something, that they're significant. And add in oh shoot, okay. There you go. I'm going to do those pictures, add those pictures and put them in a photo album. And I'm going to make sure that my children know where the photo album is. Pictures that mean something to me, stories that mean something to me. We need to always pass that on. So that was one of the things that I heard this morning when I was listening to the radio and all that. And there's some other stuff I want to talk about too, but that was one that was right there in my thought process about things that I think is important to us. Now, my man Leonard just got in here. Better late than never, sir. I sent you the thing 20 minutes ago and you just get in here. And Marion, it's funny because there's online services too that you can do that. But I guess you'd have to send off for those, send them to email it to the company and they send them back to you for a fee and all that. But yeah, Marion, you're right. I haven't done it in a while, but that's an easy way of doing it, and printing a lot of pictures and just go ahead and posting it, or not posting it, printing the picture, put them in a photo album, put them up on the wall. Those things are important. In my opinion, they're important. So, Leonard, did you hear all the stuff I was talking about?
I ain't hear a goddamn thing you were talking about.
Oh, hold on. Make sure. Did you see the text I sent you about the your Facebook thing?
Yeah, I went on there and
okay.
But said it was already still streaming, it was still active, but I redid it again, so hopefully it took care of itself. And sorry about that, but I literally was down at the Major Park, my neighborhood. I got a phone call that the festival going on, and they decided to shut the festival down. And lady was mad. And I'm getting a phone call right now. She got to call me back.
Okay, your phone went out.
They had to shut it down. They were going to arrest them and blah, 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 blah. Now they got Channel 2 News out there, so I had to skedaddle out of there because I ain't trying to be in on that. The volunteer position. So, go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay, you're part of what you were saying. You got your phone was glitching, so we don't. You said something about the park, and you had to skedaddle and all that, and the rest of it was glitching. And now your phone is glitching again. All right. Well, while Leonard gets okay, there he is.
What was the topic of discussion that I missed?
Well, I was talking about how I heard a show from June on Juneteenth by Loree Daniels Flavors from Sirius XM. I was talking about her. One of the callers in her show was talking about how Juneteenth, his family, the stuff that they did as a family when he was growing up. Mama and whomever would sit around with the photo album and show the children, their ancestors, the grandma, auntie, and all of them, and tell a story about each one. Tell them, identify who they were, name who they were, tell a story about them and stuff like that. And I was saying that's something that we've lost we've lost. We've lost that art of getting together and talking about our family history. And I said the good, bad, and the ugly. That's a lost art. We don't talk to our children about that. So that was one of the things that I was talking about. But and you preoccupied talking to somebody else. So I'll go to something else. Something else I want to talk about. The looking at the news this morning, they were talking about the 1-year-old in Mississippi. Say what? The 1-year-old in Mississippi that was shot by that police officer. And stuff like this disturbs the hell out of me, as it should all of us. One reason is because the everything that happened should not have happened. There was, in case you didn't hear about it, it was a Walmart in excuse me, I think it's Satobia, some little small town in Mississippi. And these two women and a baby were in the Walmart, and they left the Walmart. People said they ran out of Walmart, but they were accused of, somebody said they were trying to steal diapers. And one of the employees called the police and said they were stealing. Police came and confronted them. And according to police accounts, one of the women tried to run over one of the officers, was driving toward an officer, and another officer fired at them. Now, of course, and the young man, the baby, and I don't want to pronounce his name, and if somebody know, I think it's Corwin, was shot by the officer, got shot in the ribs, basically, and died. The woman who was driving was shot twice, one in the arm and one in the thigh. She's in critical condition, and she was the driver. The mother of the baby, of the young man, the toddler, was not injured. But the key thing is, to me, the officers fired into a moving car. And as an officer for so many years, and I'm always going to revert back to my training when I talk about stuff that officers do wrong, my critiques of officers, when they have reason to be critiqued, when I know what they're saying is bullshit. One of the things that came up in the thing is we were always taught, and two academies, one in New York I went to and one down here, you never fire into a moving vehicle because you never know who's in the vehicle. You never know. So you never fire into a moving vehicle. Also, the mother said that when they came with their guns drawn, she showed them that she had a baby. It's like, hey, I got my baby here, to let them know, hey, don't fire into the car. And the officer who fired into the car wasn't the car officer in front of the car or behind the car or whatever that was supposedly in danger. It was somebody off to the side. It wasn't the guy who was, or the officer that was, quote unquote, in danger. It was one to the side. So that's telling you right there, he's wrong. But also, too, get into a common sense thing. If a car is on, why would you stand in front or behind, wherever their position was, a car? Why would you do that? Who does that? Where are you taught? And no law enforcement, no type of law enforcement in this country, I can't say for the rest of the world, but I can 100% sure tell you that not one place in the United States in any police academy, federal academy, anything like that, law enforcement academy, do they teach you to stand in front of a goddamn car? They tell you to get out the way of a car. If a car is coming, get out the way. Why would you stand in front of a car? If you stand in front of the car, that means you're putting yourself in danger. The car, putting it in. Now, if you stand up to the side and the car starts dragging and stuff towards you, that's something different. But if you're standing in front of the car, you're the one that's causing the problem. Get the hell out the way. Now, they're saying, this is what the officer said in their accounts. That's why I know it's bullshit. They said the woman was back. Well, they said the woman was driving forward. The mother of the car said, we were backing up. So that's telling you right there, they lied. She said, we backed up, then they started shooting, then we drove forward. Because we were trying to get the hell out of there. But even beyond that, why the hell would you fire into a car? And on top of all of that, this is the other thing that gets me. Okay, these women allegedly, according to whoever called the police, were stealing some Pampers. All these officers showed up for somebody supposedly stealing some Pampers. And they said they did. The woman said, we didn't steal anything. I had a receipt. She had a receipt for it. So you calling the police for the quote unquote theft of some Pampers, shoplifting. And the first thing that pops into your damn head as an officer is to get in front of a car to stop it from driving off over some damn Pampers. That's not even a damn felony. That's not even a felony. Another thing, if you're standing there and the car starts to drive off, guess what you can do? Get the plate. And you can go get them later. Or you can get in your car and follow behind them. Because in the state of Georgia, you can't chase nobody for a misdemeanor. Can't do it. But you put on your lights and try to stop them. If they don't stop, you already got the plate. So you know what, if the person who's driving the car owns the car, just meet them at their house. You ain't got to do all that. It's not that deep. It's just a misdemeanor. Now, I know Pampers are expensive, but they ain't worth nobody's life. That's not worth anybody's life. And Marion, you asked about the video. That's something one of the and this CNN I was listening to. Listening to. The guy was saying that the attorney for the mother said that the police, of course, have the video from Walmart, but they're saying they're not going to release it for 6 to 9 months. Why are you waiting to release it? If you already had a video, just release the video. Body cam footage, release the body cam video. If you don't want that town to burn down, release it. Show them if the video shows that, okay, the woman drove, okay, people like, okay, even though you still shouldn't be shooting into a car, but at least they can say, all right, maybe the guy's life was in danger, but you still shouldn't be firing in a car. And yeah, Stacey, she did say she had a receipt. So they didn't even do anything illegal. What they're alleged to have done is a misdemeanor. Another part of the officer who fired the weapon has had multiple complaints, not with just a hit, whether he got fired from another agency for harassing Black people, brutalizing Black people. Then he went to that place and had complaints there about him harassing and brutalizing Black people. Same officer. Moving from one agency to another. The same officer. It's If you are accused of brutalizing people at one agency, you move to another, and you get more accusations, there's something there. And it's always black people. Always black people. Always. There's something there. And it doesn't, whether it's black people or not, if you're brutalizing people over nothing, then there's something wrong with you. And there's also something wrong with that department that keeps that's backing you on this. I once worked with an officer who I always believed he was racist. But I could never, and I, to be quite honest, I couldn't stand him either. I really hated it. I shouldn't say hated. I despised him because I knew he was racist. He never came out and really said anything racist around me, but I just felt it in my soul that he was racist. So he was on a traffic stop one day, and routine traffic stop, nothing big. And he comes over the radio and asks me to come and assist him. Now, I was mad because I was eating my lunch. Finally had a chance to eat lunch because I was busy all day. Finally got a chance to eat some lunch. So I come over there with him. Pull up, it's a black couple, and he pulled him over, and he got it. Whatever reason he gave me, it didn't make any damn sense to me. So I'm trying to mitigate the stress. Like, listen, man, you ain't got to know these people. Well, let them go. Just let them go. So eventually he let him go. They filed a complaint against him because one of the people, what was a couple, they alleged that he called them the N-word. And when they called me in to talk about it, asked me about it, I was like, I didn't hear him. I said, I don't know if it happened before I got there. If it happened after I got there, I may have been in my car. Because I think he was, I don't know, I think he may have been having something wrong with his computer or something like that too. So I was running the driver's information in my car. So I didn't hear anything that would any exchange between the two of them in terms of that. Because when I got there, I start talking to him. I ain't that, I'm talking to them and trying to find out what's going on, or whatever's going on. I'm talking to them. Oh, let me see your ID. Let me try it. Let me run it in my system or whatever. So I didn't hear the interaction between the two of them. So when the investigation came up, they asked me, and I honestly told them, I don't know if he said it. He might have. Hell, my opinion, he probably did, but I didn't hear it. And I'm not going to sit here and lie about, one thing as an officer, I tried to do, and I was always honest. I never lied on anybody, never lied on a document or anything like that. Would never do that. Even though I couldn't stand his ass, I still was going to be honest about what I heard. Because he was a straight asshole too, a lazy asshole. Man, I hated that dude. Let me stop. I severely disliked that dude. He was one of the sorriest cops I ever met in my damn life. But anyway, it was these officers are lying about some stuff, and they're going to change. It's the truth is going to come out. You don't shoot at anybody for a misdemeanor. I'm sorry, unless that person is shooting at you or threatening your life with a weapon, if they're driving away, let them drive away. That's not. It's. I don't understand the philosophy of some of these officers, and for that officer to continue to get job after job after job when he is clearly racist and clearly does not know how to do the job the right way is ridiculous. And we don't talk enough about that, about how these racist attitudes of some of these officers contribute to a lot of unnecessary stuff that doesn't need to happen. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I've never heard of a black officer killing an unarmed white person. I've never heard it. Never heard of it. Now, If someone knows of an incident like that, let me know. I'll do research, but I've never heard of that. Why is it always us that's being brutalized, that's getting killed when unarmed? Why is it always us? I always go to the example of that racist murderer Dylan Roof. When Dylan Roof got after he killed the 9 black people in Mother Emanuel in, I think it was Charleston. I'm pretty sure it's Charleston. How when I'm not sure which agency found him, took him into custody, they took him to Burger King. They took him to Burger King because he was hungry. And I'm saying to myself, damn, we got black people who haven't even committed crimes, who are unarmed, and they get beat up and killed. But this dude killed 9 people and he gets Burger King? Like, wow. That racist ass, punk ass little bitch. What's that boy's name? Kyle Rittenhouse. After he killed those 2 people, shot those 2 people, he walked right past the cop with the murder weapon in his hand. He literally walked right past him and had his hands up, and they let him walk on by. You go into a call of a shooting of somebody, a white male with an assault rifle, killing 2 people, and a white man with an assault rifle walks past you and you don't stop him? Why are we always the ones that need to, why are we always the ones that's brutalized? I just don't understand that. Everybody else is given grace, but not us. That family should not be grieving over that baby getting killed. And Mary, you might be right. Like I said, I don't remember of a black cop killing somebody. Oh, you know what? I do. I take that back. In Minnesota, where the woman walked up on the and he was Somalian, as a matter of fact, walked up on the Somali officer at night in the alley, and he pulled his gun and shot her because she walked up on him in the dark. Yeah, I forgot about that one. Forgot about that case. But be quite honest, I'm gonna tell you this: you walk up on an officer from the back at night in a dark alley, that would cause that type of reaction. That would cause that type of reaction. Hell, when I was a cop, I had a dude. I'm sitting somewhere. I'm out in the public in a wide open space, well lit, and he stopped his car across the street from where I was and started walking toward me. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, oh shit, what is he doing? That was right after 2 officers got killed in New York. They were sitting in a patrol car and the guy walked up to them and shot them. It happened in Brooklyn. So my awareness is on 10. I saw this car stop and he got out the car and started walking toward me. And the first thing popped in my mind, oh shit. I unbuttoned my holster. I had my hand on my gun because I didn't know what that dude was going to do. Now, he had, by the time when he was about 10 feet away from me, I could see, because I couldn't see one of his hands. By the time he got to me, but if that dude had a gun, he had me. He had me.
Over, right?
So doing that case that you're talking about, Marion, I can sort of understand that. I can really understand that because that dude had me. Now he was innocent. He had a question about something. And it was a legit question. Now I wasn't upset, but it made me think about the fact of something that easy, something can happen like that. But these cases with black people getting killed by white cops, and they're unarmed. In this case, not only unarmed, a 1-year-old, or shooting into a car. We never do that. We never do stuff like that. We receive the same training as white officers. You can go from pretty much every department, every agency, every law enforcement academy in this country, and 99% of the training is the same. 99% of the training is the same. I don't care what agency you work for, federal agency, state agency, local agency, municipality, sheriff's department, whatever. Every agency teaches, every academy teaches you pretty much the exact same stuff. So I don't understand, why is it always us that's the victim in all of this? Why don't we get that grace? Why doesn't anybody see our humanity? I can't understand it. And it's infuriating and sad. Because I always think about, that could have been me with my child when I was young, when they were young. Somebody accused me of something. And whether I did it or not, but some officer decides that my life and my child's life isn't worth anything. That happens way too much. It should never happen at all. And that officer, it probably, now, and the crazy thing is this, y'all. If we had a real Justice Department, especially one with a Civil Rights Division, they would already be down there investigating that. They would already be down there. But this Justice Department, under that piece of used shit paper, not going to do anything. There would never be a civil rights investigation in this until after his bitch ass leaves office. And we get a new administration in there. And it can't be somebody like J.D. Vance being in there either. Cannot be. That type of stuff right there, Justice Department is supposed to be in it, the Civil Rights Division. They're supposed to be investigating this already, but it's not going to happen. Hopefully the statute of limitations don't run out. And I don't have much faith in the Mississippi Department of Public Safety, who's actually taking the lead in the investigation. I have very little faith in that they would come to the right conclusion. I have very little faith. And then I have even less faith that he'll be charged. And even beyond that, if he is charged, I have less faith in that he'll be convicted. Because you know that jury is going to be majority white. Because what's the one thing that Leonard and I always talk about that people in Mississippi don't do? What they don't do in Mississippi, Leonard? Black people.
Vote.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Vote.
Vote. And in order to vote, you have to be registered to vote. In order to be on a jury, you have to be registered to vote. Then you got to go out there and don't say no stupid shit like, I can never convict a black person of a crime so you can be on the jury. So I have very little faith that officer will ever face real justice. Now, he will lose his job.
Can you hear me, Kenneth?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Let me say one thing before I know the show's almost ended. I'm glad I got to say this. I think everybody needs to be fully aware that they're trying to set a tone in the atmosphere. It's the same atmosphere that Marion grew up with. And so a lot of what you say, do I think they're going to arrest our officer? No. I think they're trying to set a tone for people of color, particularly black people, that you're never supposed to question the authority of any white officer anywhere.
and there's only going to be a few places that you can do that, and that's one of them is going to be Atlanta. So they're going to come out to Atlanta full force. But in all these other little towns, what they're trying to do, this particular administration, Russell Vought, Pete Hegseth, they're trying to set a tone, and that's the tone of keep your eyes down, get off the sidewalk. They're just inching closer to this. The law doesn't work for you, and you're seeing this time and time again that the law is not working for people. I mean, even with the Carmelo Anthony situation, as you get more information out, and you sit there and you go, wait a minute, this is crazy. With some of the information that did not come out or supposedly did not come out. Because they want you to think that you don't have any recourse when it comes to questioning the self-defense or anything when it comes to a white male in particular, including white women. So I think that's what everybody needs to understand is it's a slow encroachment. You know, when you pull back the 1961 Civil Rights Act, the biggest thing was Section 2 provided enforcement. And so they pull that enforcement back and it just seeps down into local jurisdictions. And that's what you're starting to see right now is officers who've been doing what they were doing, thinking they have carte blanche because they understand it. And we need to start understanding it. And that's where the pushback comes back. But again, none of this matters. Me and Marion talk about this all the time. None of this matters if people don't get involved and they think that their life is just going on the way it's going on. It's not going to matter to them until it hits them. And that goes for a lot of African Americans because we're going to see, because I know you and I'll be out there, we'll see in this election this year, they have a unique chance in Georgia to have a black governor, a unique chance. So a whole bunch of people not voting for Ricky Jackson. But the thing about it is are you going to be able to say, you know what, we coming out in droves, like Marion said, at 75%, like they did in 1968, 75% of registered black voters. You know, we set the tone by the stuff that we don't do. Now, I've said this before, the stuff we refuse to do. We set the tone. So when people say you refuse to do something, even when they're going, I wouldn't take that shit if it was me, and they watch you take it, you set a tone for them to keep testing the fence and pushing the fence further back. And that's all I want to say. Y'all need to realize that this is a tone that's being set. Like I said, when Marion was growing up, stepping off sidewalks. Y'all don't think so because you can't fathom it. And I keep saying the same thing. I don't know why people can't fathom it, why it's happening. That's mind-boggling to me. That won't happen. It's happening. What you mean it's happening? Mm-hmm. They're doing it. They're literally doing it. You still got people walking around acting as if our community act like they're not doing it. Yes, they are. So that's my 2 cents for this episode. You need to get out there and start talking. Use your platform to get people to understand that.
Yeah, I totally agree. One other thing before we go, I want to talk about in reference to stuff that's going on in the news. It's funny because everything I'm listening to radio and every story I listened to this morning had something to do with Black people. I was like, wow. So you had this week, you had the Trump administration, the Justice Department file a brief with the federal courts saying that the lawsuit that the NAACP has as a part of in Mississippi to end to basically force SpaceX data center, and I forgot what part of Mississippi it is, but it's in Mississippi, force them to comply with federal regulations, federal law in terms of pollution, noise pollution, things like that. And also there's something else that specifically they were talking about. But basically it was a data center. And they filed a lawsuit saying they're violating federal law. Y'all need to make them comply or force them to close, one of the two. So we have the Justice Department, and the area where this is of course a Black neighborhood where they put this data center. You have the Justice Department saying that you should throw out this lawsuit against SpaceX and Elon Musk because we rely on that data center for national security. I want y'all to think about this now. They're saying that that specific data center is used as a part of the national security apparatus for the United States. And they cited the fact that in the first day or two of the Iran war, they sent out like 2,000 bombs and missiles and some shit like that, over 2,000 in a 24-hour period or 48-hour period, something to that effect. And they said we couldn't have been able to do that if it weren't for AI. If it weren't for that data center, we would not have been able to send out those 2,000 bombs, those 2,000 missiles. So we need that data center, that specific data center. We need that to stay open so we can continue to fight foreign wars. And I was like, damn, who came up with that bullshit? Now, we've been fighting wars. The United States has been in fighting wars since 1776, since the Revolutionary War on. Now, all of a sudden, we can't fight a war without AI? The human element don't count? We can't figure out how to use systems that people who use missiles that work in these systems to send off missiles and to bomb planes and drones and all that. You mean to tell me they can't do their job without AI? We've been doing it for 200 and something years, but all of a sudden we can't do that now? That shit makes no sense to me. That whole argument. And every time, in case y'all don't notice, whenever Trump wants to do some shit that's illegal, the first go-to for the Trump administration is national security. Everything is a national security threat. When they were sending missiles to blow up boats in the Caribbean Sea, oh, it's a national security issue. That was their justification. It's a national security issue. They are bringing drugs into the United States, so that's a national security issue. We've had drugs in this country since before there was country. We always had drugs here. Weed always grew here. Peyote, that's a drug. Now all of a sudden it's a national security issue? Now it's a national security issue? So it's very, very troubling that every time they want to do some illegal shit, they bring up national security. Because that's supposed to trump everything, pun intended. That is supposed to outweigh the law. Because that's what that bitch-ass motherfucker wants. Forget the law. Forget precedent. Forget the Constitution. I want it, so y'all got to figure out a way to do it. And you have people coming back and inventing ways to justify the stuff that he does or the stuff that he wants to do. That's craziness, y'all. And of course, they always want to put these damn data centers in our community. They always do. Every time they want to build a data center, it's always in a Black community or a poor community. And they always, we're going to bring in 2,000 jobs. Okay. All right. 2,000 jobs. But you're endangering the lives of 60, 70,000 people for 2,000 jobs. But y'all, that's what was on my mind today. Unfortunately, Linda, he got knocked off. He wasn't able to be on this with us too much today. So I was running solo today. That wasn't the intention, but it ended up being that way. But, I'm an alpha. I don't have to get prepared. I stay prepared. So I'm always ready for whatever that comes down. Please continue to celebrate Juneteenth and not with the Juneteenth sales, celebrate actual Juneteenth. Spend some time with your family today, your sphere of influence. Print out those pictures, y'all. Put them in the photo album. When the grandkids come around, when the kids come around, show them the pictures. Talk about the family. If you're not registered to vote, get registered to vote. Now, I know I'm preaching to the choir because our audience always, y'all registered up, so I'm not worried about that. But encourage somebody to register to vote. Let's say congratulations to Stephen Kendrick. He won the runoff election here in Augusta, so he's going to be our new mayor starting in January. Congratulations to him. And just know that elect Mayor Stephen Kendrick, we're gonna hold your feet to the fire too. So please, all the stuff that you talked about, please follow up on it. Please get it done. We got your back. Don't worry about anybody else. We got your back. So do what you got to do to get what you the things that you talked about. Do what you got to do. We'll have your back. We're not going to abandon you. As I said, we got your back like Carol Pratt. Yeah. So do what you fulfill your promises, or at least make a serious attempt to fulfill your promises. Because too many politicians promise a lot of stuff, but they don't follow through. So I'm praying for you. I got your back. Please don't disappoint us. Please don't disappoint us. Please do all the things, or at least attempt to do the things that you promised us. And as long as you do that, we're going to have your back, and we'll give you another 4 years to complete the next stuff, the next steps that you want to do, because we need to turn this city around. We can no longer sit back and allow people who don't have everybody's interests at heart to be in office there. We can't do that anymore. Money's too tight. Times are too hard. We got too many assholes running this country. We can't afford to have an asshole running Augusta too. So y'all have a good one. I'm not sure. I may or may not be able to come on here next week because I have to go to a funeral in Detroit. So I'm not really sure if I'll be on the next week, but if I can, I will be. So y'all have a good one. Y'all be safe. If you're going to a cookout today, enjoy the cookout. Celebrate the ancestors. Celebrate your families. And pass on some knowledge. See y'all next week. Deuces.